Friends, family, fans, we are back with another episode of Back 9 Bets. Episode 160. We've got Stogies, Hoges, and Bogeys, sponsored by DraftKings. Use code FGD when signing up as a first-time user. We thank them so much for sponsoring the show. Now, I'm joined by a returning guest, a man of royal proportions and epic distortions when it comes to the visual side of things over here. Mr. Brad Thomas, how are you today, my friend?
Dude, I am chilling. Listen, it's awesome to come and talk to you because I think there are not many people who bring the same kind of energy that you bring to a show. Like, if I didn't have like plans later tonight, I probably would have like taken a couple shots of whiskey, got the party started with you because your energy is like so infectious. Sometimes, when you do shows, you're like, I'm a little tired. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. When I do your show and I do show with you, I'm always stoked, bro.
Brother, I mean, what did you use that? Is that like a velvet jacket?
I actually use this for, and I love dressing up, love costumes. So I have like 10,000 costumes in my closet. This one I dressed up. For my daughter's first birthday. It was I was a prince. I actually have a crown too, but it's actually funny because the crown is from my wedding. We had a medieval wedding, so I got this as a gift when we got married. It's like a legit
oh my god,
crown, yeah.
Obviously, your wife didn't have to wear anything because she's already a queen.
Yeah, and, no, that was like the stipulation where I was like, I never really wanted to get married. Like obviously want to get married to her, but like growing up, and we talked about it. I was like, there's just so many things I didn't like about traditional weddings, and I told her, I was like, all right, it has to be medieval themed. Like, I've always thought, like, if I were to get married, I would concede if it was medieval themed. And I had my freaking full tunic on, like nice royal tunic, and all my buddies had their tunics on. It was sick. We got married out in the desert in Las Vegas.
Oh my god, that's incredible, man.
Yeah,
I think you've been married now for
2.5.
2.5. I was going to say 3. Yes,
getting close to 3. Actually, wow. I think we'll be at 3 in 4 months, so it's a little bit more than 2.5.
There we go, dude. Congrats. It's
Thanks, man.
It's one thing being married, man. And I know you said you wore this for your baby girl's first birthday. I saw you also rocking tons of stuff with Elsa and Frozen for Halloween.
Dude, if there's a chance for us to dress up, now that I have a daughter, it makes it even better because like I used to love dressing up regardless, but now there's so many things that these kids do. Like, oh, we're going to have X, Y, and Z theme day. Oh yeah, you better believe we are dressing up and we're going all out.
It's so funny, man. We're both in our 30s, and it's like we love dressing up and just being flashy and like obnoxiously out there with stuff. So it's incredible. Being a dad is the best, eh?
Dude, it so is.
It is. And I've got some news for everyone because I haven't shared this with anyone yet. Out on the big streets, we are going to be a dad again. So we are,
congratulations,
just about to get through the first trimester, 13 or so weeks in. And I think Mini Maniac's going to get promoted to Miss Maniac, and we're going to have the new Mini Maniac showing up, September 13th. Man. So I've been like really getting into the stuff about dads and Anthony Kim with his daughter and all that stuff. So it's just been hitting me pretty hard, because we are now pregnant again. So looking forward to that. Thought I'd share that with you all. We are now officially telling people. I've got
congratulations.
I'm going to be doing a gender reveal with I'm going to be mashing a golf ball.
Oh, dude, sick. I did that for my first one. We actually have a second one coming in 2 months. So
oh man, let's go.
Yeah, dude.
Just bringing even more dressed up individuals into the world.
We're about to be taking dad mode.
Speaking of dad mode, Scottie Scheffler has kind of gone from the dad of the PGA Tour to
he's a little spicy.
What's your take on Scottie Scheffler at the moment?
It's easy to be the nice guy, and it's easy to be the one that everyone looks up to when things are going well, right? Like, but we knew there was a little bit of a spicy streak from Scottie Scheffler carrying over from college to KFT, right? Like, it wasn't like he came in and didn't have a little spice to him, but then he was just playing so well, and it kind of just got overshadowed. I don't love golfers just getting super ticked off and throwing balls into the lake. I think like some of that, I'm probably like most chill like person when it comes to my expectations of golfers. Like I think everyone should just be like a little more chill, right? But I haven't been in the situation that they are, right? Playing for millions of dollars and all of this pressure on them. But you're missing 10-foot putt and you throw your ball in the lake ticked off. Like it just sets a bad example, right? Because now that golf is we could see it so much more. Like the coverage is so in your face. It's so accessible. These kids are replicating that behavior. And we've seen it with basketball, right? Like where these kids are doing the ice in the veins, they're shooting 3 bow and arrows on basketball court, like because they want to emulate their favorite golfer and they think that's that their favorite player and they think that's acceptable behavior. I don't want these kids playing junior golf, chucking their balls into the pond after they carded a double bogey. It's just like, dude, get over it, move to the next hole. Let whatever your release needs to be when you get home, punch a pillow, punch a punching bag, fine. But like, just get it off the course, because it's not necessarily I'm upset by their behavior. I'm upset with that behavior trickling down into younger golfers, or even like the casual golfer, right? Like casual golfers really tick me off when they're upset. Like, Lou Strigner, right? He talks about like manager expectations, right? Like that's what it reminds me of. It's like manager expectations. Like you're not going to make every 10-foot putt.
You are not. Money Ain't a Thing is just dropping some straight fire in you. He said if you threw every ball after a misputt, he'd empty the tightness warehouse.
That is hilarious.
I'm not going to counter your thing. I will say that when I was a teenager, staying in control of my emotions was a total disaster. Like it's so difficult because you've got all these hormones going on. You're like ultra competitive, and golf can be like an ultra frustrating game. And I, got much better at handling it all when I, became an adult, and particularly after stopping trying to be a professional. Like I went to college for golf, at an NAIA school here in Oskaloosa, Iowa, and shout out the Statesman for 6 years, and then once I graduated there, I was like drinking on the course, just having a good time. I never drank on the course when I was, trying to be good at golf. Yeah. You see, some people like take it seriously, go out there and like want to play golf. I just want to have a good time. Trust me, I've taken way too many rounds of golf too seriously. So there's different expectations for different people. And I often throw a couple Keystones in the side pouch of the bag there. The William Penn golf bag's got a lot of room for some beers now. So that's kind of how we roll. So yeah, I think, would you say, Brad, if I asked you, has Scottie's mindset, is it a derivative of his bad play? Or do you think that he's got like a bad mindset that's causing the bad play?
I think it's the expectation of excellence that's causing that attitude, right? Because if Scottie Scheffler would have just been your run-of-the-mill, that's funny to say, run-of-the-mill top 10 player, right? And he'd be having bad rounds, it wouldn't be as much of a conversation. But when Scottie Scheffler has to have a pregame conference and deal with the conversation that, oh my God, Scottie Scheffler, this is after 3 first rounds. He's the worst first round golfer. And then you go look and he's still the best first round golfer on the planet statistically. And he has to answer the question of what's going on in the first round. Like, I think that stuff compounds and makes his attitude worse.
It's truly insane, because we were in discussion about Scottie's first round leader market, which was seemingly the ultimate hack.
Yeah.
And then we come in at literally the worst time ever for this, because he went from gaining almost 3 strokes per round in round 1 and is now gaining in round 1, I think 2. He's he's averaging 3 now. He was averaging 3.8 before this disastrous stuff just happened. And that's just betting, man. Like variance and timing. Some guys get hot, and you can like shout out Pat Mayo, who's just any button he's clicking now is just like essentially just exploding into money bags. And then us losers over here trying to bet on the world's best golfer, currently the best golfer to ever walk the planet, currently playing, and he doesn't know how to play golf on a Thursday. It's just how life goes, So we'll see how it goes. Let's dive into a couple bets that we've placed this week. Let's dive into the model. I've got it pulled up for you guys here. This is the Model Maniac Patreon. Models and cheat sheets. We've got all my bets that we've been tracking. We've got all the different course difficulties for you guys. We've got the micro model rocking and rolling. Yes, Scottie Scheffler's micro model, which looks insane. You know, we're expecting him to kind of be gaining 2.5 strokes on the field at this golf course at Sawgrass.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not that comes through to fruition, we shall see. Got all the finishing position rates for you guys if you're looking for that kind of stuff, all the recent finishes, and then trenders. We can just start here for a second. This week, Brad, are you looking for course history or are you looking for like recent form?
I'm looking for form, right? Like, I don't care too much about course history coming here. There's a lot of the courses, most of the Florida Swing courses, and this I'm going to say Florida Swing neutering of the Honda, where course history Honda. I didn't care all that much because they're so volatile. Any course that has 16 holes of water in play, there's going to be some volatility, and so I just want dudes who are striping it because the more water, the more danger, the more you need to be on point. I don't care if it comes and fits your eye well. If you're not hitting your irons great, you're not going to play great.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. I'm glad you said that. It would have been really awkward if you said course history because, you know, I would have had to very much disagree with you there, but we are on the same page. So I pulled up here. You can see in the model, if you're looking for that kind of stuff, we can scoot over all the way to the right-hand side here, see a couple names with some good course, some recent form. This is strokes gained in 2026. I've got 100% to allocate to the various departments that we can kind of take a peek at here. And I went 30% to recent form. Just who is playing well this week, I won on my cards, you know. And hilariously, Scottie Scheffler is still leading the tour in strokes gained somehow in 2026, despite all of this stuff, you know. Like, this is the expectations that we speak of, you know, is the guy's the best golfer in the field still. And we're just like looking at him like he doesn't know how to play golf anymore. It's kind of crazy.
If Scottie Scheffler, like if I'll give a better example, if even Rory were to have 3 rounds or 4 rounds where he lost strokes on approach, we would just be like, let's strike a line through it. It wouldn't be more than a one-day conversation. Scottie Scheffler has lost strokes on approach in like 4 of his last 5 rounds. And now that is literally all anyone could talk about.
All anyone can talk about. But you know what? He has set these. That's just how good he's been playing.
Yeah,
so
it's amazing. I mean, we all strive to be there, right? All strive to be that good at something where when we're not at our best, it's all people can think about.
By the way, it's been forever since Scottie Scheffler has had a plus 100 top 5.
Yeah, it has.
And he's drifted to, I saw a plus 450 earlier here on DraftKings. So it's really, really interesting. Let's start off with the first bet of the back 9 pod this week. We're going to be doing back or not. I'm going to ask you between 2 golfers, Brad. Pick one. You're going to back that guy, and the other one you're going to say 9 to. If you want to say 9 to him and back somebody, you can. If you want to just say 9 to somebody and not back the other guy, you can, or you can just back one guy, you know,
cool.
Like you do it how you want. So back or 9, are we going Colin Morikawa or Tommy Fleetwood this week at 20-1 or 25-1?
I'm going to back Colin Morikawa, and I will be the first person to admit I am not a Colin Morikawa truther. I used to love him in the first round market, but like I wasn't the guy who just jammed him every step you could get, especially when his price started to drift. What I have noticed is 3 really important things.
Okay.
First is the most glaring, the win at Pebble, right? Like we can't deny his win at Pebble. The next, the dude has gained strokes on approach in every event this season. Like what? Like that doesn't happen. Like we have to remember, this is Colin Morikawa who lost strokes, massive strokes on approach at the Open, lost massive strokes at Travelers on approach. So it's not like he's always been bulletproof, but his game's starting to come together. And another thing I want to add for Mr. Morikawa here is this is the third thing I really like about him. Even though he has missed some 5-footers, I've been really mad about missing the 5-footers. Yeah. He still gained a ton of strokes putting in back-to-back events, right? Like Morikawa is a lot like Justin Thomas, or a good Justin Thomas, healthy Justin Thomas, where if he's playing well and striking the ball well, he doesn't need to gain 2 strokes to win a tournament. Like, that will never be his thing. All he has to do is like be neutral. And when he's gaining, it's just a bonus. And so I like him over Tommy. I have no gripes with Tommy, but I just haven't seen anything from Tommy that I've been super excited about. But this is not uncommon for Fleetwood. When he makes that transition from playing overseas to the United States, it's, I don't know, and this is just totally off my top of my head, right? So I could be wrong, but it always feels like he needs this warm up before he gets into major season, gets acclimated to playing on stateside, and then he starts playing really good golf.
I mean, he's played great golf at the Players. You know, any golfer that's made the cut 4 times in a row with the worst finish being a top 40, is solid at the Players, because it's a complete lottery at this golf course. You know, 16 holes with water. If you're off by 2 feet, that could have been the difference between Akshay and Daniel Berger winning the tournament. I mean, margins, man. Margins are so thin, and you have to just be so perfect around these Florida courses. And Akshay could hit that same shot on 16, and the next thing you know, there's a small gust of wind and he's swimming.
Yep. I was praying for the gust of wind. I was there with my Berger in the 125-1 ticket.
You've got a gust of wind. I know, man. Did you have him last week?
I had him pre-tournament, and I followed him. It was actually, listen, it was one of the best experience I've ever had. I don't, we work in the golf industry. So when I go to a golf tournament, like, I have been there since like Tuesday, right? I am not going to stay until Sunday and watch the leaders finish and be in the crowds. So this is my first time ever with a outright ticket on a leader, watching them start to finish on a Sunday. It was incredible.
Wow.
It was, even though I lost, like, it was still amazing.
Dude, and at what point did you think that Berger had kind of given up the goose?
I think when he was pitching out of the bunker sideways, because I think that was the right play, right? Obviously, you can't knuckle it over the green, but I think it just felt like he was flat, where he's like, oh, woe is me. And he stopped being aggressive, and it was more, I'll take what the game gives to me. And it's like weird, because Berger on Friday had so many putts where he was leaving short. The one putt that you needed to at least be cautious with was on 17, and you didn't, and you overcooked that. That was like, I knew it was happening. And what's funny is I was trying to hedge way earlier, and there's so many people at that golf tournament that I couldn't get my app to work. I even texted like my host, and I was like, hey, help me out.
That's so brutal, man, because you could just see him kind of bleeding out, but he was bleeding out so slowly that if Akshay didn't like come in there with like a chainsaw and just like chop his arm off, he would have still been fine. 31 on that back 9 was, I think, what won it for Akshay. I don't think Berger technically lost it, but the momentum definitely switched when I think Akshay hit that wedge pretty close, knocked it on, made the putt for birdie, and then, like you mentioned, Berger kind of, he did great to make bogey there, because that was a super difficult shot. So, with the way the rough lined up, Daniel Berger's had 3 consecutive top 20s here in his last 3 starts at the Players, which is
crazy.
Kind of crazy Florida to think about. He's a Florida guy, and to hear as many people as we did, like, what was the heckling like to you at following Berger?
It was bad. It was insane, because, okay, first and foremost, before they got to like 15, it was one of the worst final pairing crowds that I've seen, right? There was like 100 people, and I don't know how it played out on TV, but it was pretty bad. So initially it was a lot of just Florida State fans, right? Like, oh, go Seminoles. And then when you got to like 14, maybe even the back 9, oh, the crowd was nasty. I mean, they were, Berger, you suck. Berger, you're a loser. Go in the water. It was insane. And I was like, for him to be a Florida guy,
I know.
Like, why are they not cheering for him? But I know it's like, Akshay's a really popular player, right?
Yeah. But I mean, then just cheer for Akshay. Like, cheer for, it's just a bunch of Jets fans out there trying to make the other team worse. Like, it's shout out Jets. We also just re-signed Geno Smith.
Super Bowl
bound. Hilarious. We got now a team that has not had an interception on defense, and now we have the leading quarterback of interceptions from last season on the same team. So that they must have just brought him in to throw interceptions to this defense.
Or something. Get some reps for your first team defense.
He's literally a defensive player because I think they paid him like league minimum or something ridiculous. So we'll see how that kind of goes about. Brad, let's dive into a couple more bets here. I'm going to pull up the DraftKings leaderboard for the odds board over here. And Cameron Young is in the mix, and a Minwoo Lee at 40-1. Cam Young 31-1. Let's just pretend they both 35.
Yeah, okay.
Back or 9, Cam Young or Minwoo Lee.
This is probably the most sickening back or 9 because I slightly love both of them, but I think I like Cameron Young a little bit more. I think in this, Cameron Young feels like when he's in control of his game, it's consistent control, right? Like, let's look at him when he won at was he win Wyndham? Yeah, when he won Wyndham.
Yeah.
Right. I'm ignoring major. Obviously, I always ignore the majors when it comes to talking about form because I just feel like majors are so hard, so difficult for guys.
Yeah.
There's so much variance. But
yeah,
he win top 5, top 11, top 4, top 9. When he's in control of his game, it's really, really consistent. Whereas Minwoo, I don't think there's ever a point where I'm like, Minwoo's fully in control of his game because his feels more of the spike, more of the higher variance, more of the volatility. Cameron Young, top 7, top 3, gaining on approach. But what's been crazy is that's hilarious. Yes, the Minwoo eject button is inevitable. But what's crazy is like, I don't think Cameron Young gets enough credit for the combination of his game because I think a lot of people forget that he struggled with his putter for quite a while he was gaining a ton, and then it moved over to his irons. But now it looks like he's a complete gainer. I can ignore the around the green stuff, but like ball striking and putting's coming together. Man, I have him at 50-1. Like I'm totally stoked. I don't care about the weather advantage right now. I'm hoping for a lightning delay. It's Florida. It's beach Florida, by the way, coastal Florida. That weather can change at any moment.
Yeah. By the way, we both bet Colin Morikawa. We didn't even mention that when we were going through his stuff. To me, I think that number is just way too. It's still, I'd still take him at 20. Colin Morikawa right now, and I do think I'm gonna take a nibble at Colin Morikawa's first round leader market at 35.
Me too. And dude, you might as well take his first round top 20 and top 10 because they're always soft prices, and he has really good history around here in the first round. And as you know, he's a good first round guy.
Let's go. We are rocking and rolling with that without a doubt. Cameron Young, we were chatting about you also just to kind of validate what you were mentioning there. Nothing in the model. I know there's only 120 people, but considering how bad his iron play has been over the last 12 months, this is a 12-month sample size for the micro model. I don't want to be plugging in 24 rounds of golf for a micro model. I need a good solid baseline, and it kind of gives you an idea. Then you kind of dial in on the recent form stuff if you looking for a balance of what you're looking for there. And he's always been incredible off the tee. And me and Sweet Spot DFS were doing our show on Back 9 Bets YouTube channel. This is on Mayo Media, the Back 9 Bets show, and we discovered that recent form is numero uno, and guys just driving the golf ball. To finish inside the top 10, you need to have been entering the week gaining strokes off the tee with the golf ball, and your name's Tom Hoge. So, the fact that he's a great driver of the golf ball is impeccable. And, I think we've started to see the putter come back to form because he was one of the most elite putters to end the season. At Bethpage, he made that. That was probably one of the sickest, most vicious fist pumps ever. When he sunk that putt. Did he play against, who was his opponent? It was Justin Rose. Yeah. And he had to, sink that putt on the final hole to kind of give the USA a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just getting chills just thinking about that moment, though. I'm going to go to Minwoo Lee, B-Rad, and chat about him a little bit because we spoke about how important the recent form has been for our guy. I'm going to type in Woo over here a little quickly. And when it comes to Minwoo Lee, like you mentioned, it was a tough sell. That's why I put them both out there. And it doesn't sound like you were that against Minwoo. You just like Cam Young a little more.
Yeah. I would probably, like, if I could have gotten Minwoo. So I also have a problem with like odds drifting too much on me. I had a chance to get Minwoo at 60-1, and the odds got away from me, and like that really just took the wind out of my sails. I really like Minwoo. I already bet him first round leader. So
okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm in on Minwoo as well at 47-1. Drop that in the Model Maniac Patreon.
Nice.
He's now what? I think, like you mentioned, 40-1, which is still fine because
still a good price. Yeah.
He is one of the few guys that's like 3 consecutive top 12s in signature events. And his first 2 starts in the non-Siggies were both top 40s as well.
Yep.
So not like bad. He's found really good form. And at the Players, he's finished 6th and 20th. And this 20th, shout out the boys at No Laying Up with the unstable compound, like analogy on him.
Yeah.
That top 20, I think, wasn't he in one of the final groups on Sunday and kind of completely just kind of ejected, like a ES Guna said there. But I'm going to say that Minwoo's going to be ejecting me 10 units out of my DraftKings account because I think he's just playing so well right now. We've got a nice blend of very good form, and it's mostly got to do with the fact that his wedge play has improved significantly. When you see these professionals hit their wedges, we were chatting about this also on Back 9 Bets on Sunday. They tell you that you need to hit your wedges with the launch angle that's half of the club you are using. So if you're hitting a 60 degree, you got to be launching that bad boy at like 30 degrees, which is, go try hit a wedge 30 degrees, man. It is very difficult. And that's what separates the pros in the wedge game quite nicely. He's doing these like sawed off, like 3/4 wedges now, and he's hitting them much more consistently. Like you mentioned, this is probably the most consistent golf Minwoo Lee has played on the PGA Tour. Wouldn't you say?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a hater on Minwoo in terms of getting ready to eject. And I bet on him in his win at, was it Houston?
Yeah.
Like I was on him, and I just thought, like, even at Houston, he tried his freaking best to eject. And that's like the Minwoo experience. I haven't ruled Minwoo out this week. I just have a really, really hard time knowing that I missed out on so much. And we're shaving hairs, right? Like we're talking about like 3%, 2% difference, but that kind of adds up over time for me. So I am leaving 2 spots open on my card just in case I find either someone live or I back one of those 50-1 guys.
That's because we're still waiting on weather. Looks kind of diabolical, right? You thinking there might be a thunderstorm delay? I think
there's gonna be some kind of delay, and if I don't get a delay, I don't know. Are we going to talk about Rory on this show? Because
let's chat about Rory, man. Sure.
I did have a kind of a game plan for Rory.
Okay, hit me.
So Rory opened at some shops around 12-1, right? And obviously the books are adjusting his price by everybody betting around him. When I bet my initial bets early in the week, it was all the guys that I thought would take the biggest hits with Rory withdrawing. Rory arrives to TPC and says he's not playing in the practice round. So we literally have no real idea of Rory's status. Rory has the luck, good fortune for us bettors, of teeing off in the afternoon. If we know at 1 p.m. Rory's going to be heading to the tee box, there's a real possibility by the afternoon that he could be 20 or 22-1 between that price. That it doesn't matter if Rory's playing on one leg. The fact that the books opened him at 12 and now it's drifted by $9 is almost enough for me to just be like, I can put a small wager on that and live with it if he's not going to play. And because like this is the defending champion, this is a guy who has just been gaining off the tee, something that you're going to have to do at TPC. But I'm not in a position to be like, take Rory without even knowing he's going to play. right? You obviously get your money back, but I think that changes the way I structure my card, right? If I occupy that much money into Rory, then I won't have as much availability to kind of spread myself out further.
He seems to be going off late on hole number 1. So let's go over to the micro model and take a look at what those holes look like, because I think you could go even further and just kind of wait. Granted, we have got that par 5 early that could kind of, if he hits an eagle somehow or something, it could nuke his odds. But you're at least getting a couple difficult holes for the first 6 or 7 to assess what his situation looks like. You know, he will likely be on TV in the afternoon.
They're going to show him at the range 100%.
Yeah. So you get your eyeballs on the Mac and figure out if you want to Ulroy with him, because there's a chance that there's going to be opportunity for him to really dial in once he gets to 9 and the rest. You know, that back 9, a lot more scoreable if you're taking a look at the micro model over here. So that's kind of, I love that strategy, Brad. I absolutely love that strategy. So we'll see what we can do with that. It's going to be really interesting to see how he handles this bad back situation.
Yeah.
Let's chat about a couple more guys as we're rolling through over here. We've got a guy by the name of Chris Gotterup sitting in the mix. We've got somebody called Jake Knap at 49-1. And I'm going to ask you to back or 9 Jake Knap or Chris Gotterup.
You're like pulling at my heartstrings right now. I don't think there are many people who are bigger fans of Jake Knap than I am. And I was going to bet Jake. I bet wasn't. I bet him last week. Obviously, that bet didn't come to fruition. It didn't even go off because he withdraws. Then the initial report I heard was injury. Then now we're hearing it's illness. How can you not want to back Jake Knap by the way he's playing, just knowing that he had a little tummy bug? But I'm gonna cautiously 9 on Knap for now, just because I have already placed a bet on Mr. Gotterup. And
yes,
Chris Gotterup is a really unique character for this golf tournament, because Chris Gotterup has the type of game where he can gain like 10 strokes tee to green at an event. Like, he can be that elite off the tee. If the wind starts picking up, there's gusts of like 28 miles per hour. All Chris Gotterup does is win golf tournaments in windy conditions, right? And if he brings that performance, I don't mind the putting. The putting doesn't, like I said, this is a golf tournament that doesn't need you to go out there and gain 4 strokes. And Gotterup, I don't think is going to be that kind of golfer in his career, but minus Sony, he gained he made everything at Sony. But I think his baseline's probably like a good round for him is gaining like 1.2, right? Yeah. Good tournament, gaining like 1.2 strokes. He can do that here. And there's small greens, which people have to remember, like the smaller the greens, especially on Bermuda, the less I care about how good someone is of a putter, because you're not having these 40-foot lag putts continuously. And Chris Gotterup, I got him at 50. He was one of those guys who I thought would move. I'm fine playing him in the 40s.
Yeah. And especially in the win, man. I'm probably going to have to jump in. I'm going to have to probably jump in on like a top 5, top 10, because my outright card is pretty locked up, equity wise there. So I'm going to have to dial in. What's interesting for me is this is the last 12 months looking at his strokes gain metrics, and obviously 7th off the tee in strokes gain off the tee. I mean, he's a freaking beast, dude. Like watching him hit different trajectories down the stretch there at Sony. One like cropped, I love the word crop duster, that they were using for burgers, like zinger down the middle there, like head height. Gotterup was hitting those crop dusters with supreme accuracy. And then when there was a dog leg left, he just let it loose with a baby draw around the corner, 192 mile per hour ball speed. Hello, that's on demand, in contention, just rip a high non-stock shot was really cool to see. So the approach numbers are 63rd for strokes gained approach in the field, but his green regulation rate is 12th. And I think this week, just getting the ball on the greens, I think Kenny mentioned that these greens have the most 3 putts total on the PGA Tour in non-majors or something like that. So there's that, but
they're lightning.
just hitting the green here with all the water around is important. And he's projected to be top 12 in GIR rate. So there's a decent chance that's the case. And then ES Guna, for the first time, I actually agree with you in the chat here. Gotterup doesn't miss left. And I think that's, we've spoken. I think Kenny mentioned that if you're missing left, it's almost half a shot more penal than missing right, because all the water's left there off the tee. And you've got a couple more bailout areas into the moguls and things, to the right-hand side, but still hittable. So a tough boy, strong boy. We'll see what he can get up to. I'm in the mood for some Chris Gotterup. Who do we put him against? Jake Knap. I also think I'm going to be popping Jake Knap at a plus 380 top 10.
Yeah.
I am not going to bet it yet. I'm going to be sharing some leans with you guys because I need to figure out what the hell's going on with this weather. I'm probably going to place most of my bets on Wednesday night.
Me too.
Especially with the placements.
100%.
I'm very passive when it comes to that. I need to have all the information correct. And it's how I build my bankroll. So far, it hasn't been great this year. So I really need to lock in this week. And I don't want to be putting out too many bets if the weather's just going to wreak havoc. I may just sit. Sometimes the best bet is the one you don't make.
Exactly.
So I'm cool with that. A bet that I have made is going to be our next back or nine situation over here. And let's go with Russell Henley and Ludwig Aberg at 26 and 27 to 1. Back or nine, be rad. I'm hitting you with some hard-hitting questions over here. Where are we going?
Man, it's crazy? Both of these prices have been insane. Russell Henley has been destroyed. Aberg, we'll call Aberg destroyed because he was destroyed from Sunday on.
Yeah.
It has been impressive. Aberg was going to be on my card. And so I will say back Aberg, 9 Henley. And only reason I don't have Aberg on my card yet is because I posted this at the beginning, at the beginning of the week, that Aberg is the biggest odds overreaction that we've seen of any golfer for this week. Remember, this is a guy going off at 50s, played really good golf. My problem with Aberg is every round, it's something different.
Mm-hmm.
He lost his driver run round. Can't putt the next round. His approach play the next round. That kind of round around inconsistency is really hard for me to get a firm control of how a golfer is going to perform. And then I said perform really funny. It's new accent. No. And it's really hard for me to be like gun ho on taking someone at 25, 28. Russell Henley, listen, I have been the Russ truther forever. I've bet him 10 million times in his career, but he's now starting to get way too much respect. Not that it's not warranted, but as a truther, when you start to get in the 20s, and I was betting you in the 70s, 60s, I'm shopping down a different aisle now. Russ is those nice fancy clothes. I'm at Walmart still. Russ is still great value. I'm not all the way ready to go get Kellogg's brand. So that's why I'm passing on Russ. Good golfer, but he still has too many mental hiccups for me to be like, that guy, that's Kellogg's brand. No, give me my great value.
Get your great value out there. And I did get great value at 40 to 1 in the Model Maniac Patreon on Monday morning.
Yes. See, now that I would shop there.
So, and this is the problem, is like, I keep saying this on the show, is like, I'm probably not going to give you an outright winner in the Model Maniac Patreon, but I'm going to give you closing line value. You're going to be losing far less than you should if you bet the same guys on Wednesday night.
Yep.
So we've already nuked that with Henley. And I think he was bogey free over the weekend at API and was not really doing anything with he was scrambling his face off, man. He is so deft around the greens. It's kind of insane to see. Like, remember once upon a time, Russell Henley used to be a guy that was team no putt.
Yeah.
Now he was just rolling in every 12-footer he stared down for par at the API. And what I really like the most about Henley is his approach game is drastically better when you get him like into the wedge ranges. Like, he's a very good wedge player. And, API demands a couple more 200, 175 kind of shots into very firm greens. What do you think the greens are going to be like this week, by the way? Sorry.
Dude, I think it's going to be a good mix of, I think they're going to be firm, but not API. API firm. API's greens were a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like the superintendent was a little OD with that. And down here, I live in Orlando. For him doesn't know, like we haven't really been getting rain. Like it's been pretty dry recently, and Jacksonville's been getting a little bit more rain. They're going to get some rain over the course of the week. Right now, their greens are really tough. Really, right now they're similar to API. Really, but what I'm expecting is they're going to get a little bit of moisture on Wednesday night. I don't know how much that moisture is going to change, but certainly by Friday afternoon, they should be a little bit softer, a little bit easier to hold. But that's not saying much, right? Because so API's greens are bigger. They actually are sloped a little bit differently too, and they cut down that first cut. So it's a further distance from the first cut on sloped greens. So not only you're hitting hard, you're not holding, they're rolling off. Well, with TPC, now they're going to be firm and smaller greens. So it's going to feel eerily similar. It's going to feel eerily similar because it's just a smaller target for it to try to hold on top of.
Amen, dude. I love that. And when we were chatting about this on the Fantasy Golf Degenerate show, hitting fairways when greens are firm is imperative. You have to hit fairways because the rough at CPC Sawgrass is, if it is what it was last year, it's one of the highest levels that we've seen. And they are potentially, I think there were people saying out there there's 5-inch rough in some spots. So whether or not they cut that, I don't know. But coming out of rough into firm greens is borderline impossible sometimes. And you have to play to like really bad places just to avoid hitting it to an even worse spot.
Yep.
And I love the fact that Russell Henley finds the 5th most fairways in this field.
Really nice. And to add to your point, like I think it's going to be a really stark difference than it was at API. A lot of API, so API definitely has penal rough, but theirs was about 3 inches, and it was the overseed rye, which is the same with TBC.
Yeah,
and they also had, what was it, more forgiving misses. So the rough wasn't as thick in that first foot of missing the fairway. So if you ran off the fairway in that first foot, wasn't as tough as you're going to 2 and on. TPC is not like that. TPC, if you miss the fairway, you're missing the fairway. It's going to be thick, 4-inch rough. Man, it'd be 5. It'd be amazing. So like you need premium of guys who hit fairways at TPC.
Let's go, baby.
Like you're not going to Akshay your way around TPC. I think I started writing about that in my golf article, my PGA article, where like, or I don't know, I wrote it for somebody, where it's like the way that Akshay, I was on VSiN. I was on TV when I talked about it. The way Akshay won the golf tournament is not what typically happens at API, but the changes that they've made to API have made it a little bit where you can just go out there and just blister putt it and just dominate that way. You can't do that at TPC. You have to be able to ball strike. You cannot have 2 days of only hitting 9 fairways and be 10 under for the tournament, or whatever it was, 8 under for the tournament.
The Sex Panther, Russell Henley, 60% of the time he's inside the top 20 all the time, is plus 105 for a top 20 this week. And that is definitely a strong lean. Like it's a 9 to 10 beers deep lean at this point. The more beers you have, obviously, the more you're leaning into it there. But Russell Henley's not even the Sex Panther anymore because he's flirting between the top 5 and the top 10 being the Sex Panther. Like top 15 is likely the number, because 50% of the time he's inside the top 10.
Yeah.
And like he's very, very under, like when you said he's getting some respect now, he has definitely been undervalued in the past.
Big
because
time.
I mean, if you just take a look at his upside as well, it's where 21%. That's top 5 over here. That's along with Rory, Tommy, Sepp. Sepp's also one of these guys that we will chat about here shortly. But before we do that, we're going to just do a quick word from our sponsor of the show, DraftKings. Golf season has kicked off, and there's no better place to sweat the action than DraftKings Daily Fantasy, the ultimate destination for fantasy golf fans. Right now, our partners at DraftKings are giving new customers a shot to play free for their share of millions in prizes with their first deposit on the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app. It's simple to play. Build your dream lineup while staying under the salary cap, then sit back and watch as your players rack up points. Every birdie, every bogey, every clutch putt, feel the intensity of every shot. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app and enter promo code FGD to play free for your share of millions with your first deposit. That's for new DraftKings customers. Just download the Daily Fantasy app for your shot today. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 18 plus in most states. Restrictions apply. Minimum $5 deposit required. One single-use $3 ticket rewarded that expires in 14 days. Ends March 25th. See terms and conditions at DraftKings.com/promotions. Sponsored by DK. Boom. We are back. Kind of a long ad there. Really appreciate it. I was watching the views and only 4 of you left. So shout out to the others that did not. Really appreciate you guys doing that. It was a hard read. You know, to read an ad like that for that long, if you make one mess up, you know, you got to start over again.
Start over.
God damn. So it's a little stressful, but, you know, I put a lot of hard work into that. So thanks for listening to it all. Next back or 9 for you, Mr. Thomas. We've got Adam Scott playing fantastic golf on the ball striking front, past players champion at 59-1. And then we've got Sepp Straka at 54-1. He's actually drifted by 2 points to 54-1. I think I bet Sepp for 52-1 Monday morning, and you can now grab him at 54. Back or 9, Sepp Straka or Adam Scott?
All right, let me think. I made this statement, and I'm okay with it. I'm going to back it up.
Okay.
I don't think Sepp Straka will ever win a Players' Championship. And he won a difficult Honda, right? So there should be no reason, a pre-neutered Honda, there should be no reason where he couldn't. But I'm backing Straka and nining Adam Scott. Adam Scott had his first like top 5 in like 6 years, 7 years. If I'm getting these two next to each other and I'm saying I have one is a red delicious apple and the other is an apple envy. If you like apples, you know what I'm talking about. Sepp Straka is the apple envy. Red delicious, you know, that used to be the staple. That used to be the model of apples. Adam Scott, #1 in the world. But damn, you give me an apple envy, tastes good, new kid on the block, killing it. It's Sepp Straka. Sepp Straka's played really freaking good golf. Ball striking numbers are high. And you know what's crazy? He's a really good putter. His putting numbers have been lower for his standards, and he's still having really good finishes. Imagine if his putting wasn't so, I don't call it poor, wasn't so low for his standards, the dude would just be winning everything, or at least contending every week.
And that's the thing is I do think like kind of looping Aldrich in here was a horrible play this week, in my opinion. But when he gets to these courses that have a lot of long irons and a lot of drivers that get his confidence up, putting is likely the most important area of golf that confidence affects. You know, like if you are confident on a putting surface, you can just look at it and you like know what's going to happen. You know, like the vibes are strong. Yes, when you're confident with the irons, you're ripping it, but you can't go like nuclear. You know, you're not gaining like 7 strokes with the irons. You can gain 7 strokes if you go nuts with the putter. Like we saw Akshay, you know. So the fact that that's his biggest issue, I'm totally cool with, because when he gets into contention, he's nails, you know. So he's absolutely nails, in my opinion. And he's top 8 in the micro model. He's actually playing, you know, not the greatest golf to begin the year, 2026. But if we take a look at his like recent form, second at Pebble, which I'd say is kind of compy, you know, a little bit less water, but similar kind of a shorter course, more positional, wedge intensive. And then at API last week, this 13th isn't doing him any justice for how he played.
No, it's an unfair 13th because of what happened on, was that Sunday?
Yeah. Bad. Not good.
Yeah.
But on Saturday, he was the best showdown option to be found. And I think he was like $7,400, right? And Sepp is $7,600 this week. So in DFS, we are rocking and rolling with Sepp. Some solid spike performances. When it comes to Adam Scott, I'm just a little concerned about his, the course fit here. 40th in strokes gained approach, whereas I think I prefer him at a course that's got a little bit longer irons, a little like he hits it so far now.
Yeah.
The Champions Tour is shaking in there. They've got like 5 or 4 years left of peace and freedom because he's going to be hitting nukes around these gold guys.
You see Zach Johnson goes out there and wins, and Jack Johnson's hitting it like 50 yards shorter than he is.
I know. It's going to be insane. And we're starting to see this in golf, like the old guys. Justin Rose, I think he's hitting it further than he's ever hit it on the PGA.
Yeah.
And all in
Roll
the
the ball
40s, so, but also the guys are seeing analytics coming through and saying like, in order to succeed on the tour, you need distance, and you can't just have distance alone. You need to be accurate. So having a high tank of gas that you can kind of just empty on the course a little bit is absolutely what you need to do. So Sepp Straka, to me, I mean, in the last 4 years, he hasn't missed the cut, and 3 of those have been top 16 places. So we'll see. I likely will be betting a top 5 with Sepp as well. He finishes inside the top 5 once every 5 times, so it's a solid option there. Adam Scott's top 5 rate, you mentioned that, Brad. It was either, if you want to count the Tour Championship in 2024 on the PGA Tour, that was his last top 5. I think the BMW Championship the week before.
Yeah, Tour Championship doesn't count. None
So it's been since 2024 that he had a top 5, and then he just gets it done at Riv, which if you had to pick a golf course for Adam Scott to go and try and get his first top 5 at, what would you tell him to go play?
I don't know.
I would say go play Riv because he's like very good around Riviera Country Club.
He is
at the Genesis Invitational. Yeah. So I'm not going to overreact, although Adam Scott is a little ahead of Sepp when it comes to the model ranking. Yeah, I'm going to do a maniac.
I think he's higher in my model ranking too, but I just feel like Sepp has. I'm a Sepp backer. I back him a lot. I just feel like we normally see Sepp at like the worst prices, like the worst prices. This one is, what was he, 60-1 this week? What'd you get him at?
52-1.
Yeah, 50, 60
on Monday. Yeah,
I'm trying to see where Scottie finished in me on mine. I thought he was top. Oh, Sepp's higher in mine, I think.
It's whatever it is. I just don't think this is like the best course fit because I've got a lot of recent form in here. And,
okay.
That's probably why I think he's gaining almost like a stroke more than Sepp this year. But again, Sepp's got a couple, like he's got a third or a second place finish. So we'll see what he gets up to. I want to chat about another name that we were going to be betting. Let's go with just a random back or 9 here as we just taking a look at some names. Yeah. Shane Lowry or Harris English. I don't know if I like that one. Let's go with Shane Lowry or Justin Rose. Back or 9.
That's funny that I thought you were going to keep stick with Harris English. I took Harris English in the finish placement market.
Which market?
Top 30 plus 118.
I love that bet because he hasn't finished outside the top 20 or inside the top. Sorry, he hasn't finished outside the top 30, but inside the top 20 yet, which is like kind of a crazy situation. It's got the really curious case of the 20s over here. I mean, look at that. 27th or 28th is his worst and 22nd is his best.
It's hilarious.
Middling all day, So
I go Shane Lowry. I think he was in an impossible situation at API coming off that epic collapse, but he's still going to be hitting a lot of fairways. He's still really good in poor weather, and you just know his ball striking numbers and be good. And one thing that I really like about Shane Lowry, and I I don't know if this is a new thought that I've had, but it's just been coming to my attention more and more is when I watch Shane Lowry play, especially around the greens, I always feel like it has a chance to go in. But now my thought process has changed from it always having a chance to go in to he's always trying to freaking make it. That is such a weapon. Like, I just thought it was like, yeah, I knew he was really good around the green, but actually watching him, he's really intentional with everything he does around the green, where a lot of golfers are just trying to get it on board and give themselves a makeable putt.
Is this correct? Is Shane Lowry top 10 in strokes gained putting? That's seemingly impossible, but maybe. I mean, maybe he's putting quite well right now, like anything off the tee without that, he's playing some great golf. 5th in the field in strokes gained approach. Love to see that. And 8th at Pebble, 2nd at the Cog,
yeah.
I think he took the weekend to wallow his, to finally mourn his loss.
How many whiskeys he probably had? Like, he probably went to his practice round hungover as hell.
Yeah. No, and not the good hangover where you celebrate. It's like the hangover that you can't look people in the eyes with, like that hangover.
You probably didn't shower.
Didn't shower. Locked himself in a dark room and just pounded some Johnny Walkers. So the course history here for Shane Lowry is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, we are looking at 4 top 20s in the last 5 starts. So there's a good chance I go back to the Shane. I lost 2 units on Shane Lowry last week because I laddered his ass top 20, top 10, top 5. And I'm going to do the same again. I mean, he's finishing inside the top 20, 53% of the time, and he's doing it 80% of the time in the last couple. And if you take a look at his recent form, he's also top 26s in every single start. So he's playing some fantastic golf. If we go over to take a quick peek at Shane Lowry's odds, I think I'm going to be hunting him down. I mean, look how far you got to scroll. Plus 200 for a top 20.
That's not right? Like overreaction by the market.
This is a Shane Lowry on Saturday night lean. This is like an 18-pack of Guinness. Yeah. Hard, slurry lean into the top 20 at plus 200. Bananas. So I'll be laddering that because then you can go over to the other stuff and tune into a Shane Lowry. Where is he? Have I missed him already? There he is, yeah. You can get a top 5 at 10-1 and then a top 10 at plus 445. I think he's finishing inside the top 10 a quarter of the time. So I'll never bet Shane Lowry to win a golf tournament, but I will ladder the shit out of him, into the top 5 market because he's often around there. So that top 20 bet seems nukey. I'm probably going to treat it like it's even money and just bet a full unit on that and maybe just leave it at that because I think we have to. And we might even just do it now. So we'll see how that works out. I think we've covered most of your bets, right, Brad?
Yeah.
Let's chat quickly about Sahith Theegala, who I have as my other outright. I know a lot of the favorites, guys inside the 20-1 market have won this tournament. That's also Scottie Scheffler and Rory McIlroy. 2 massive warts on both of them. One on the back, one on the irons. And we don't necessarily know what he's getting up to. Sahith's, look at this form. It's truly incredible. For someone that played really badly last year. Sahith hasn't really, he's got 4 top 20s, 5 top 22s, like in 2026 season. So he's actually playing really consistent, and maybe this isn't the greatest course fit for Sahith, but he does have a 9th place finish here 2 years ago. Anything that happened in 2025 for me with Sahith Theegala, just punt it out the window. Kick it out the window as hard as you want. He was not the same guy.
None.
I think 2024 season is a lot better. Like if you played well at a certain course in 2024, that's where you want to be looking. So give me Sahith Theegala here. I think, we haven't seen a top 5 from him in a while, but I trust him under the gun. When he's won on the PGA Tour, we'll see what happens. He's also 50, he's 82-1. Like I'll take a quick gamble on that. And then do you have any takes on Sahith? And also, do you have to be out of here at any cutoff?
No. I like Theegala a lot not necessarily for this course, but I like him as a player because he's one of those golfers that can get really hot. And he obviously has the course fits because the way he plays, where there's courses that may fit him better. But at any course, I think when he plays with confidence, he's one of the best in the world.
Yeah. And I want to tell you guys a quick little secret about Sahith Theegala in the showdown market. These strokes gained are for the last 14 months, since the beginning of 2025. In round 2, he's gaining 1.2 strokes. And remember, I said anything that happened in 2025, punt into the sun. He's gaining over a stroke per round in 2025 in round 2. So if he is somewhere around the top of the leaderboard or anywhere, really, I'm going to be looking to live betting for round 2, top 10, round 2, top 5. He is, think about the round he had on Friday at API. It's what got him into contention. He got off to like a relatively normal start and then fired up the leaderboard on Friday. So he helped me cash big time in round 2 showdown. It's a crazy split.
I love that you're letting the cat out of the bag with Theegs, because I wrote about this for Amex. Had a really bad first round, and I was like, he's the new Sam Burns, second round guy. And I took him top 10 and top 20, but I took him first top 20. And literally people on freaking social were giving me crap. They're like, not a chance, doesn't stand a chance. And then I end up taking him the next day for top 10. And he finishes T8. I was like, Theegala is the new Sam Burns.
Dog. Yes, dude. And I mean, look at these splits. He's losing half a stroke in round 1 and round 2 because of 2025 stuff. It's like 1.5 strokes better, kind of. He just gets it done. He wants to play weekend golf, and maybe his girlfriend or whatever gets out of his life for a little while on a Thursday night, and he can kind of zone in. But Sahith Theegala is absolutely someone I'm in the mood to take a peek at this week. 82-1. Somebody I'm in the mood for. I have one more bet for us, and I have, in fact, placement bets on this man. And his name, friends, is after the show. Stogies, Hogies, and Bogeys. Hopefully none of them with Tom Hoge this week. We are looking at a 330-1 Tom Hoge outright. We are looking at a 36-1 top 5. We're looking at a 15-1 top 10 and a 6-1 top 20. You play Tom Hoge at courses that Tom Hoge plays well at, and I've cashed his top 20 at the Amex and at Pebble. And we've bet him at both of those. I kind of took a sprinkle on him at the Genesis Invitational because he has also sneaky good form there, but I wasn't expecting much, and the weather kind of blew him off the course, which there could happen again this week. But take a look at this course history for Tom Hoge at the Players. 22nd, 33rd, 3rd, 54th, 3rd for Tom Hoge. So you aren't laying anything out there. You're getting 36-1. You're getting outright odds. Who's 36-1 to win this tournament? Victor Hovland to win the golf tournament has the same odds as Tom Hoge just to finish top 5, which he's done 2 times in the last 3 years. So he flirted with the top 5. I had him, I think, at 50-1 for a top 5 at the Amex, man. And then he bogeyed the final hole. So tough scenes there into a chop for the top 10 market, which I got greedy without the tires paid in full.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Byron. Don't you dare do that ever again. So I'm going to be taking a look at Tom Hoge hard. And I believe those numbers are still out there for the Thomas the Tank, because the course history, you play him at these kind of wedge vests and he's very good at them. So thoughts on the Tom Hoge situation?
Yeah, I like Tom Hoge because he's going to always be playing out of the fairway. I feel like his game's been a lot more improved since the end of last year too, which really helps.
That first year of a child, they say, the nappy factor can come in handy. The nappy factor wears off quick. You got to brace that magic early, boy, because he also, I think, had a child right around the same time you and I did. End of 2024, he had a kid and showed up to Hawaii and was first round leader in both Hawaii events, and then just disappeared. So the iron play disappeared for him. We'll see how it goes. Tom Hoge, friends, go and grab a Tom Hoge ladder out there at 300-1. The top 5 hasn't even changed for 30. It's actually gone up 37-1, while the outright odds have gone down. That probably just got to do with who's been betting at which market, right? I'm assuming everyone's just hammering the top the winner and not touching the top 5. So interesting to see that. Go check out, even if you don't want to bet the winner, I mean, bet the winner. He's 300 to 1. Put $1 on.
$1.
Like, just put $1 down. I mean, it's probably you're charging yourself $1 for the streaming Wi-Fi for this show. Like, go do that. So, Tom Hoge, let's take a peek at the chat. Figure out who's got some questions for us. Fire those in. We're going to do a rapid fire maybe for like the next 10 minutes, Brad, if that's okay with you.
Dude, I'm chilling. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Bring the questions. Jay Kinney. I haven't seen him on Twitter forever. The man with the most handsome voice I've ever heard is Jay Kinney. So I'm reading this in your deep voice. Model, does Tony have a chance this week? I don't think so, Brad. What do you think?
No, I don't think so, man. I'm not there on Tony. I think he's a real long ways away. I actually don't think Tony's going to win a big event the rest of his career.
Ooh, that's a bold take. That's a very bold take.
I don't think so. But, I do feel like one thing we can count on for Tony is he never takes this too serious, not in terms of preparation, but in terms of mentality. And he knows that golf is fun, and that makes him dangerous, right? Like, he gets just like when like rappers are freestyling, when he gets in a flow state, then he can get real hot and he can take down a tournament. But I think he's going to be winning like the smaller events, not any Siggy's coming up for him.
I do want to point out, I want to fire off on Tony Finau. I use him as my one and done at the Genesis Invitational. And for the first time ever, he actually lost strokes ball striking around there and gained putting. He's gained putting a couple times since the Farmers. He's switched putters, and as a result is, just not lose. He's like Colin Morikawa himself out of the putting situation there. Everyone's moving to these mallets, which seems to be taking over the PGA Tour. So I need to find Tony Finau at a venue that we can kind of lean on, the long iron play and the power that he has. I don't think the Players is a great spot for him. He's got a 19th and 3 miscuts in the past. So we can probably expect an MC this week maybe, or a low-end finish. Wheels Up is asking, thoughts on Sungjae Im as a low-leverage 6K golfer with upside on DK? What are the odds you'd expect a rebound? Brad, you go first.
Man, it'd have to be a pretty big rebound, right? I feel like it's not like his game was just kind of bad. I feel like his game has been pretty bad for quite a while now. But I don't hate it because I think Sungjae's gonna be playing out of the fairway, right? Like that's the biggest thing here. He lost most of his strokes on approach at API, right? That's where he was bad. But if he can play out of the fairway, it gives him a little bit more of an advantage. Ideally, I wouldn't want a guy though struggling throughout the bag at a volatile course, because that just compounds errors.
I know Wheels Up is, I think myself as a very aggressive DFS player, take some serious gambles on some guys. Wheels Up has got me like wheels up, baby. Like he love. And the thing is, what has Sungjae got up to here? He hasn't missed a cut at the Players in the last 5 years.
No,
by the way, you can kind of tell how many people are in the field just by looking at Sungjae Im's strokes gained approach, because he's 121st in this field. I think there's 123 guys. Yeah, I think one of the names in here hasn't been added because we are rocking and rolling. But I don't mind it at all. Like if you want to just take a chance on him, no one's going to own him, and he's 6K. Like you're obviously not anchoring around him in your lineups. Sprinkle him in. I'm totally okay with that in the 6K range, given the course history. If he just makes the cut for you, we are Gucci. Best ball bags for me are struggling a lot. So with the Sungjae Im situation, didn't play the first full contest stint there. BRAB422 says, thoughts on McNeely this week, Mr. BLT?
McNeely's fine. I just like deploying him more on the other coast, on the opposite coast. I actually don't know what his outright price is, but I feel like McNeely's going to be the guy who wins those West Coast tournaments, contends at all of them. But he makes sense in Florida, right? Like he's going to gain strokes off the tee. He's going to be hanging around the leaderboard. So.
9th year in 2024 hasn't, for someone that has a 25% top 10 rate And the top 5 rate was pretty up there early as well until this season. I've been kind of gunning after him. That Farmers was the only top 10 RV season so far, but he's actually got a really high floor now. He used to be one of these guys that was like, fire him off in DFS because he's either going to top 5 this thing or miss the cut. But he hasn't finished worse than 30th in all but the Genesis Invitational this year. So very impressive professionalism from Mav McNeely. I'm not sure that's going to help us, with an upside case. Maybe he finds his groove this week. He has got a 9th in 2024, like we mentioned. So I don't know. And we'll see what happens there. I don't mind that at all. I'm complete. Yeah, what's this one? I can't read that. I'm missing it, or no one really discussing Aaron Rai. Yep. Let's chat about Aaron Rai, Brad. What's your thoughts?
Man, I know some of the dudes from the Sports Illustrated were talking about Aaron Rai. I can't remember who it was. Was it? I don't know. Someone now said you might as well burn your ticket if you're betting on win API. I mean, win at TPC. Dude's like the dude is such a good golfer who should win way more on this side of the country, on this side of the world, and doesn't. Like, he has all the tools to be a really good decision. So like if you're talking about just from a sheer numbers perspective, he should be a guy that you should consider. But if you're talking about from a gut standpoint, no way. I mean, even his last tour win was literally gifted to him. He didn't go out and earn it.
Get it.
He freaking had it donated to him.
He had it donated to him with McGreevy or grease all over that donation.
Yeah. Freaking.
What a I mean, didn't Griezmann have like a minus 1,000 chance of winning that tournament or something? So congrats to Aaron Rai for not losing it, basically. Aaron Rai is minus 102, basically even money for a top 40 this week, which he has cashed in 3 consecutive appearances at Sawgrass. And if you take a look at his top 40 rates, he's at inside the top 40 70% of the time. So if there's a market to kind of bet Aaron Rai, I'm looking at the top 40 market. And it actually seems like a solid bet because it's the form is like,
Aaron Rai used to be the best top 20 first round leader guy. First round top 20 guy, like the best, because it was always a really good price and he would always hit it. He's gone through some what was he injured or something? Like he went through a little bit of lapse in his swing over the past couple months, but it looks like it's getting better.
Yeah, I mean, didn't he win in the off season on the DP World Tour or something?
He did.
So he's got that extra cash now. I don't think he's stressing too much on the PGA Tour. But if you're in the mood for a top 40, even money, I think that's a solid option. Again, with this weather, I'm just so scared to lay like an even money bet out there. I'd rather just fire off at like 6-1 top 20s and Shane Lowry 2-1 top 20s kind of thing. Just taking on that volatility. So we'll see how that cooks. Awesome stuff, friends. Thank you all for tuning in. Brad, what for the final couple minutes here, like, what have you been on your bicycle lately? Have you found any nice ice cream shops? The stuff we spoke about the last time. Talk to me.
Been on the bike a little, not as much actually, because I started refereeing. So
Soccer.
Long-term goal is to be a college football ref, and you got to start at the bottom. So I've been refereeing like 6 games a week, girls flag football. And listen, I don't know how a ref, no offense, refs, if you're watching this and this applies to you, but I don't know how a ref can be out of shape. It is so much running where by the time I get home, I'm like, dude, I don't even want to think about my bike. But I've been trying to squeeze it in a little bit. Like I'll tell my wife like on a Saturday, not this Saturday because I did ref, but like the week before I was like, I gotta get some biking in, man, because I haven't had time. I haven't been like, my legs have been so sore. I'm not a runner, bro. We talked about this. Like I like to bike. And reffing has been an experience in terms of, I don't know, maybe different muscles that I haven't used in a long time. I'm back judged most of the time too. And there's a lot of deep passes, a lot of pick sixes. And I'm just freaking sprinting.
I'm sure when they throw like a deep pick or something, you are just, God damn it, like that's.
I had one on Saturday.
Fun. That's fun though, man.
Saturday, bro. This girl literally juked the snot out of the girl. They were at the 14-yard line, juked the snot out of her. I don't know if the whole team just was playing real aggressive or overly aggressive. There was nobody like past the 25. And I'm like, oh God, I got to at least run with her, at least down to the 10, right? Because if she falls, I got to spot her, she's got the 10. Then I get to 10, I switch off sprint mode and I'm like, oh, jog it in. 10 seconds elapsed. I finally make my way to the end zone. I go touchdown. They were probably like, oh my God, this guy's hurting. I was like, I'm not sprinting anymore. It was like it was at the end of the game. It was during the day because it was a tournament. So it was like, I was sweating bullets already from doing this like 3 times. I'm not doing it a 4th time.
Oh my God, man.
They had 2 pick sixes in that long run. I was like, no.
Dude, have you lost a bit of weight doing this? Surely, like.
Yeah, man, I have. I've been on this weight loss journey anyway. So I think it's helping. Like, it's been helping a lot, right? And also, like, whenever I'm doing it, I don't want to eat like junk food before. And then by the time the game's over, so like if you're doing a double header, you get there at like 4:30,
okay,
and then you're done. You're back home by like 9 or 10. You're not gonna want to eat a heavy meal at like 10 o'clock after you've just been sweating. So I normally I'll do like a salad and I'll just go to bed after I shower.
Dude, I love that for you, man. It's really fun doing new things like that because I've just repicked up the stack system, for driver swing speed. Yeah. I got that for Christmas 3 Christmases ago.
That's cool.
And I've not finished a full program yet.
Yeah.
I'm one of these guys that I struggle to like follow through on things. I did some stack and I did the warm-up that they suggest for you, which is 15-minute warm-up. It's dynamic, couple lunges and things like that. Buddy, I woke up the following morning and I'm like, oh boy, my legs are stiff. I can't move, like with a warm-up. So today I did a Fit for Golf app, we see him on X there, go give him a follow. And I've signed up for his app and I did a couple push-ups today. I did 23 push-ups today in my first ever gym workout in like years.
Hell yeah.
And I took a nap over lunch, not gonna lie to you. And as I try to like push myself up from the bed, I broke. Like, no. I lost a piece of my soul, dude. And I think tomorrow is going to be brutal. Those 23 push-ups are coming back to haunt me, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to keep trying to do every day. I don't do the stack. I'm going to do a workout and try and just
incredible.
Because I hit it kind of far now. It'd be fun if I can just mash it, like far.
Dude, get a pull-up bar. I got one and I've just like, back when I was a freaking collegiate athlete, I could do 1,000 pull-ups. Now, bro, if I get to 6, bro, I'm stoked. I'm like, yeah, let's do this a little bit later today,
Dude, is that your max? 6?
Yeah.
I can do 3. Like,
yeah, we're big boys.
We are big boys. Pulling up 250 pounds when you don't do it often it's tough, So the more weight we lose, the more pull-ups we're just going to do without even trying. So it's going to be fun to do that and just see how it goes. The weather's starting to get nice here in Iowa as well. As we wrap this up, what do I think of Daniel Berger? Sorry, just one or two more in the chat. Yeah. Love Daniel Berger, the course history and
Florida guy.
Yeah, but again, is he going to be in the same boat as Shane Lowry after kind of tragically losing that tournament? We don't know. And then BK the Juice Man, what a wonderful name, asking for King of the Course on DraftKings. If you go and enter, I think it's a $5 entry on any golfer to win the tournament. If you pick that golfer and he leads the tournament in round 1 and round 2 birdies, you win a portion of the grand prize over there. So kind of picking game theory names. I think everyone's going to be clicking Scottie Scheffler.
Yeah.
You might not even get your $5 back, like if everyone's doing that. So he's got Hogi, Rye, Damon, and Rio. Which would you suggest going to make the most birdies of those 4? Just through the first 2 rounds.
First 2 rounds, Rio.
I think he's probably the most in-form option of the bunch, and the putt is he's found some serious putting.
Yeah,
but it's cooled off since coming to the East Coast.
Cooled off. His whole game is cooled off.
Yeah,
it wasn't sustainable. Like, this was a guy who was losing strokes consistently.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna say Hogi. I mean, he's my guy, right?
Like, you can't go Rye. Too popular. Damon in Florida. Too popular.
Yeah. Go with Tom Hogi. He's got the course record, I think, as the co-owner of the course record. Yeah. So let's go, Brad. Thank you so much for joining me, man. I love doing this. As you can tell, the hair's not in the greatest shape. I wanted to rock the dad hat, so I let you steal the show. Those flag football ladies, I'm sure you're rocking a fancy wedding ring, a nice big flashy one, because you running up and down there looking the way you do is probably a big problem for ladies flag football. Tell the people.
The moms always stop me in the parking lot, and they're like, "You were so great today," and I was like, "Listen, I actually don't even wear a wedding ring. I do have a tattoo though. It's a bird.
Okay,
for my
awesome.
wife, so yeah.
Yes, let's go, man.
The bird.
You're gonna have to get like a bright neon orange wedding ring, just to like the rubber one. When like put it on your whistle, and then just pop it on when you go onto the.
Wait, quick story. I'll be quick with it. So
I don't have it to go anywhere.
So. I can't wear jewelry. So I have eczema, so I can't wear jewelry for like more than like 10 minutes. And so like we were thinking about the wedding ring. I was like, well, it's pointless for me but wear a wedding ring because I can't wear it. And so we got the tattoo. And so one day I thought I was going to surprise my wife. And I was like, I'm going to order the rubber ones. Like, not rubber, but the nice silicone ones.
Yeah.
And I ordered them, tried them on, didn't fit. Even though I was like, okay, well, let me go get my ring size. So then even though I go get my ring size, order a second set, doesn't fit. And I said, I'm never doing this again.
Too small?
It's a sign. Yeah, too small both times.
Dude, But I think the flag football is going to really force you to do it at some point because, it makes too much sense. We are both, I need to get my Sports Illustrated bets in on the panel. By the way, the panel's been cooking, huh?
Yeah, I have not hit it outright. I feel like everyone has hit an outright but me, but I've hit 2 this season, just not on Sports Illustrated.
I mean, it's tough to just have the one bet and hit, especially when you're firing off a bunch of like long shots type situation. Yep. Tell the people where they can find you, how they can find you, and why they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on X at Mr. Brad Thomas. Also, make sure you go to pgatour.com. My article should be out tomorrow morning. What are we, is it Tuesday? Yeah, tomorrow morning. And then any in-play stuff, just go to PGA Tour's social media accounts or pgatour.com.
That's awesome, man. What an awesome gig there for you. Are you enjoying working out the?
Yeah, there's super good people, and it's really nice to be, I started writing golf like for the most obscure company, and just I feel like I've wiggled my way around now to be with the PGA Tour is a blessing.
That is a fantastic bit of information to anyone that is aspiring to get into the content game. You do what no one wants to do.
Yes.
And you go where no one wants to go. And
just grind it
out.
I've
kind of stopped writing articles the last little while. If an opportunity presents itself, I will gladly take it back up. But I thoroughly enjoy doing the shows. And the break that I got on Mayo Media is because me, Pat, and Blickle were all nominated and he had us on for his show.
Yeah.
And that's how I connected with Pat Mayo. And through a FSWA writing article, So sometimes you've got to do the grunt work, the boring stuff, the hard stuff that no one wants to do. Take the trail that's least took, and it'll take you to a place that you can just get off nicely and just start writing for PGAtour.com like Brad over here. So, little inspiration there for you guys. Any of you trying to get into the content game, don't do what everyone's doing. Do your own thing and give it your all. So you can catch me at the Model Maniac on X. Check out all my Model Maniac Patreon in the link below, or just go to the Model Maniac Patreon. Use Players26 to get yourself 50% off the first month over there. Show's always sponsored by DraftKings. Use FGD when signing up over there. We really appreciate you all tuning in. Tell your aunties, tell your uncles, and the flag football moms to show up every Tuesday at 3 Eastern. Brad, thank you so much. We'll catch you guys next time.